Hey everybody, this is my preview of the 2018 Kansas State Wildcats football season. So here it goes. Let's start off with the depth chart. I'll be going over uh, who we lost in each position and who I think will be starting in each position. So here's the depth chart, my depth chart. Uh, let's start with the quarterbacks. K-State lost Jesse Ertz. I think he graduated, so we'll miss him. Good luck to him, whatever he does. For the returning starters, K-State got two returning starting quarterbacks, and Skylar Thompson and Alex Delton. Uh, both 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 these guys started a few games last year apiece after Jesse Ertz went down with an injury. Uh, both are pretty good quarterbacks, uh, and I think the coaching staff will use these guys rotationally in most of the games. But I think Skylar Thompson will get. I think Skylar Thompson will get the start, but I can see either one can get a start though. But I think Skylar Thompson will get the early season nod to be the starter. That's that's what I think about the quarterbacks, the running backs, and the fullbacks. Let's start with the running backs. On the We're returning all of our running backs from last year. I think Alex Barnes will get the nod at becoming the returning starter. He'll get the returning nod at becoming a starter. And the backups will be Justin Silman and Delvin Warmack. So I think it'll be a running back by committee kind of deal. But I think Alex Barnes will, like I said, be the starting running back though. For the fullback, I think Luke Sawa Jr. will step in and be the starting fullback after Winston Demo transferred to Texas El Paso with his father. So I think Luke Solo will be the starting fullback. So that's the running backs. The receivers. We lost Byron Pringle to the NFL and Dominic Heath to transfer. So we lost those two great guys. My projected starters are Dalton Schoen, a returning starter, Isaiah Zuber, also a returning starter, along with Isaiah Harris and Zach Reuter. Those are my top four receivers coming into the season. So those are my receivers. The tight end, we lost Dayton Valentine, and I think Blaze Gammon will become the starting tight end. So those are the receivers. The offensive line, K-State is one of only 10 teams, if I heard right, to return all 5 starting linemen in Division 1A or the FBS. One of 10 return all 5 offensive linemen. We return Scott France at guard, Abdullah Beckham at center. Scott France at tackle, Abdul Beckham at guard, Adam Holtorf at center, Tyler Mitchell at right guard, and Dalton Risner at right tackle. So we return every single offensive lineman, so that's good. And since they all returned and have a good amount of practice together, I think this offensive line will be better this year. So that's the offensive line. Let's go to the defense. The defensive line, we lost two good players on the defensive line, and Will Greery and Tanner Wood. So good luck to those guys. So for my projected starters are Kyle Ball, Drew Wiley, Reggie Walker, a returning starter, and Trey Deshawn, also a returning starter. So those are my starting defensive line, excuse me. Linebackers. We lost Jack Kirby and Trent Tanking from the linebacker unit. So good luck to those guys. For my projected starters, Casey has Daquan Patton, returning starter, and Elijah Sullivan and Justin Hughes. Those are my projected starters. For the defensive backs, K-State lost. K-State lost only DJ Reed, a really good player, and good luck to him. For my projected starters, I have Duke Shelley, a returning starter, and Jonathan Durham for cornerbacks. And for the safeties, I have Denzel Coolsby, a returning starter, and Kendall Adams, also a returning starter. So that's my projected starters for the defensive backs. Special teams, we lost both our kicker and punter, and Matthew McCrane and Nick Walsh. So my projected starters for the kicker is Nick McLillan, and for the punter, Devin and Till, I think. I'm not sure how to say his name. I'm sorry. He'll be the punter. So those are my projected starters for the special teams. And coaching, Bill Snyder returned for his 27th season as head coach at K-State. So that's good. And he signed a 5-year deal that will go all the way to the 2022 season. So that's good. For the coordinators, the departing coordinators are Dana Demo. He was the offensive coordinator, and he took the job at Texas El Paso. So good luck to him. And Tom Hayes retired. So that left open the coordinators positions, and and the new coordinators are, for the offensive coordinator is Andre Coleman and Colin Klein. Both got promoted to offensive coordinators. And for the defensive coordinators, Blake Siller and Brian Norwood both got promoted to the defensive coordinator jobs. So good luck to them in their new jobs. And they also will, all the coaches I named will keep their position coaching jobs as well, I think. So good luck to those gentlemen in the new jobs. So that's all for the depth chart, and onto the schedule. For the schedule, I think K-State has a pretty decent schedule. Not too easy, not too hard, in my opinion. I think we can win 8 games with this schedule, in my opinion. So let's go over my uh, projections here. Our first game is on September 1st against South Dakota, and I think we'll win that game. Our next game is on September 8th against a pretty good SEC team in Mississippi State. I think this is a 50-50 game, but I pick Mississippi to win this game. I think either team can win this game, but I think Mississippi State's a little better than us. And a little better than us, so I think Mississippi State will beat us this year. But I'll be happy if I'm wrong. But I'll pick Mississippi State. Next week, the week after, on September 15th, we've got Texas, San Antonio. I think we'll win. The week after, on September 22nd, we're at West Virginia. West Virginia is a pretty decent team, a pretty good offense. I think a decent defense, but since I think West Virginia's defense is kind of decent, I think K-State will. I think K-State will pull. I think K-State will pull out a win in this game. So I think we'll beat West Virginia. Next week, I think on September 29th, we play Texas. I don't believe Texas is all that good. They're good, but not. Oh my gosh, they're back good. So I think K-State will beat Texas at home. Texas hasn't beat one in Manhattan since 2002, so I pick K-State to beat Texas. So next week on October 6th, we're at Baylor, and Baylor isn't very good either. I think they're improved from last year, but they're not really that good yet. So I think we'll beat Baylor. On October 13th, we play Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is a pretty good team. So I think Oklahoma State will be looking for revenge in this game after what we did last year. So I think Oklahoma State will give us our first conference loss of this year. So I think Oklahoma State will pull out a win. And after that, after we play Oklahoma State, we get a bye week before we go to Norman to play Oklahoma on the 27th of October. And Oklahoma is the defending Big 12 champions. And I think they're a whole bunch better than us. So I think Oklahoma will give us our second conference loss of the year. So I think Oklahoma will beat us. But I think we can win that game too. A slight chance of pulling an upset. And I think we also can pull up a nice set against Oklahoma State. So I think we'll lose to Oklahoma. The next week on November 3rd, we're at TCU. And I think that'll give us our third conference loss and third in a row. TCU is a really good team. I don't think they replace that much like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. I don't think they replace a whole lot of players. So I think they'll give us our third straight loss and our third conference loss of the year and our fourth overall. So I think we'll lose to TCU. Next, we got Kansas at home on November 10th. What can I say? It's Kansas. I think we'll roll over them. But if we play like we did last year against them, they have a chance to kick our butt. If KU improves over last year and we play like we did against them last year, they have a chance of winning. So, but I think we'll learn from last year and roll over them. So I think we'll beat Kansas. The next week on the 17th of November, we got Texas Tech on our last home game, and I think we'll beat Texas Tech. I think we'll win. So Texas Tech is an average team, and I think we're slightly better than them. So I think we'll win. Then our final game of the year on November 24th, we're at Iowa State, and Iowa State is an improved team. They almost beat us the last few years, but we kept pulling out the victory at the last minute of the game. So I think we'll make it, and I think we'll beat Iowa State for the 11th straight season. So I think we'll beat Iowa State again, and I think that's another 50-50 game. Either team can win, but I think we'll do the same old song and story here. So I think we'll win. So overall, I think K-State will go 8-4 overall with a 6-3 conference record, with a pretty decent bowl game, maybe. So that's my predictions of the season. So, and this is my preview of the 2018 Kansas State football season. So thanks for listening. So go State and Ema.